We have some really great stuff we're going to show you. This is a series of trainings, folks. We have three of these. This is the one of three, so we have two more coming. Today, we're going to go through a lot of fun stuff, but as a reminder, if you like what you see today, we have on the 26th, we're going to talk more about self-funding and fully insured. And October 3rd, we have Dennis is going to join us again, and we have a special guest, Aaron Picorni, who's going to talk about Allstate offerings. So this is a kind of a little pattern. We're not going to give away all the information today. We're going to give away some good stuff, but would love to have you all join us for all three. Just for some this is in webinar format, so some of this doesn't exist. All of your cameras are off. Don't worry about that. But we have a Q&A. So if you have a question, I'll be doing a majority of the talking, so I might not see it. So I'm going to have Dennis monitor the Q&A. For the content we have today, we should be able to handle most questions that come through, I would assume. If we can't, we will get you the answer. But we have a Q&A. I think with the group size that we have, we could probably manage a lot of the questions through the chat box. So feel free to utilize either one. If you don't get a response to the Q&A right away, feel free to throw it out in the chat box. You don't really need to raise your hand. If you want to, you can. But again, we don't have 100 or 200 people on the call where it gets very hard to manage questions. So we should be able to handle that okay. So awesome stuff. So yeah, what we're going to talk about today, I kind of started with introductions a little bit, and some of you may not know me well. I usually have a lot of these decks memorized, so I kind of just go off the cuff a lot of stuff. So we're going to talk about the group opportunity within health insurance here at AHCP. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk a little bit about Group Insurance 101. Really want to talk a little bit about group sales as well. And then I want to also talk about HST's brilliant support team that can help you write a group if you are interested in writing group. So that's why I brought Dennis, and he's going to talk a little bit about that in a few minutes. Again, my name is David Remersma with HST AHCP training team. I have Dennis Bessler who's our director of group. Who has joined with us. That's a nice suit you got on in that picture, man. Should throw that on with the white shirt so it looks like your headshot.
Yeah, as long as Steve and Joe let me out of this cage every now and again, then I have a reason to put a suit on.
It's funny. Well, like I said, any questions, feel free to use the chat box because we don't have a large group today. And if there is anything after, we do have an email box here, training@ahcpsales.com. If you don't feel comfortable throwing it in the chat, you can send any questions afterwards to that. But like I said, we are going to have a few more of these trainings, one next week on the 26th and also on October 3rd. So awesome stuff. And I already talked about that. So I want to get to know a little bit about you folks, as I don't think I see Steve's here, but I don't really know a lot of the rest of the folks in here. So we have our chat box to test that it's working. If you could give us your name and your current location and throw out a little favorite travel destination, or maybe something that's on a bucket list so we can get to know a little bit about where you like to vacation. I know I got some PTO left. I might want to book something to one of your choices, so wouldn't mind that. So throw it in the chat box. Let me make sure we have a chat box rolling. Should be. I don't think anybody said anything in the chat box yet. There we go. Oh, that's it. I was wondering why no one's sending me anything in the chat box. I will fix that right now. Hang on. It's one of the things I should have planned for. It's usually enabled, so I will get the chat box going here. If you want to throw it in the Q&A right now while I get the chat box fixed, that would be awesome. And actually, it's fixed right now, so y'all should be able to go to the chat box. Apologize for that. Yeah, give us your name and your location, and give us your favorite travel destination. And Dennis, if you want to get started in that chat box, get that thing going.
Yeah. So you want me to chat it up?
Here we go.
Okay.
So we have Jim Carroll, USA Benefits Group out of Titusville, Florida. I don't know where Titusville is. I feel like that's a place I've never been in. Jim, any favorite travel destination you got for us? Anywhere we should go? I know Dennis has got PTO that he can't use till after fourth quarter.
So much PTO.
Yeah.
Lori Armandi is Jacksonville, Florida, and her favorite place to travel is the beach. I love that answer.
We have Rob Wolf out of Charlotte. Love Charlotte, by the way. Germany, Munich. All right. Jim Carroll is not a traveler. That's okay. Uh, there's a lot of people that I know that don't travel at all. We have Utah, and favorite place to go is Tampa. Okay, I think that's right?
That's the way I'm reading it.
That's the way I'm reading it too. Tampa is beautiful. I know Dennis and I get to go down there once in a while to visit our leadership team, but beautiful area. So let's I think we got almost everybody. Let's talk about group opportunity, folks. So small business versus group. So a lot of you might think, okay, well, let's talk about what's a small business. So small business, and I mean, I was surprised by this stat too, but I guess maybe not, is a business that's categorized or 500 or less employees and independently owned. So that's what we categorize as a small business. When we talk about small group, and when we actually, when I even say the word group, what I mean is company-sponsored health insurance is what we're really talking about today. And when we talk about small group is really we're looking for employers with 2 or more employees that actively work for the particular business. And that's what we define as a small group. I mean, 2 is a very, very small group, but Dennis, you've written 2-person groups before. We can do that here. A lot of companies don't, but we can do a 2-person group. I mean, 2-person groups lead to larger groups. So that's also great. So yeah, that would be categorized as a small business. Let's talk about kind of the importance of this all. Why is this even important? Well, look at the stats, folks. 33.3 million small businesses in the United States. 33 employees work for small businesses in the United States. So really they encompass 99% of all businesses in America. That's a very staggering stat. Small businesses employ 61.6 million workers. If you think about it, it's almost half of the workforce works for a small business. Those are wild stats. This is also a stat that really surprised me. If you look at the Gen Xers, they are taking over the small group space of owning small businesses. They are taking risks and starting businesses. Also, the millennials, the a little bit younger folks. Dennis, I don't think we're millennials. We're Xers, I think. I think we missed the boat on millennials. It's close, but I'm pretty sure we're Gen Xers. But the millennials, the newest, one of the newer generations, they're employing 13% of small businesses now. So and that I feel like I looked at stats like this in the past. This one's growing. So the millennials are opening up more and more businesses. Also, I just spilled water on myself. I don't know if everyone got to see that. Wouldn't be a Thursday. Looking at, I mean, just showing you stats. I mean, just so you're aware. Look at the ownership of small business, almost dead even in men and women owning small businesses. Also, non-minority compared to minority, 59.3 over 40.7, but very close ownership in small business when you talk about gender. Almost 50-50. That's very awesome to see. We're looking at our sweet spot here at HST and AHCP of selling a group. This is the number of employees with a group. And if you look at really look the employment by size, really that 20 to 49, a lot of businesses fall into that sector. Also the 100 to 249, but really look at the sweet spot of selling small group. And our sweet spot here is really between that, you talk about 5 to 15 range is a real great sweet spot, but we also do very well in slightly larger sizes as well. So who's offering group health? Well, if you look at the 25 to 99, for those of you who are aware of, legislation, anybody over 51 employees has to offer group. So it really should be almost 100%, right? So that's why that number is around 80 because it figures into 25 to 99. But yeah, really any business that's 51 or 51 employee or 50 employees and up that are full time have to offer health insurance. The real number I really like to focus on this slide though is the 1 to 9. If you look at the 1 to 9, only 25% are offering group health insurance. I mean, once they hit 50, they have to, but look at, and we'll talk about some of the reasons why, but this is a very big opportunity that I see in the slide. And Dennis, I don't know if you see it as well, but even that 10 to 24, only half, little over half of them are offering health insurance right now. So there's this tremendous opportunity in that small group space. So talk about why, this is what I was kind of starting to get into in that previous slide. Why should employers offer health insurance to their employees? Well, first of all, employees, if they meet certain criteria, I know a lot of you guys sell individual insurance. They meet certain criteria, they get a job, but the salary doesn't give them a subsidy on the marketplace. Their health insurance options are, I wouldn't say limited, but very expensive. So really those employees that fit that bill are looking for someone to help pay for some of their premium and really looking for a company that offers them health insurance. So you'll be able to get better employees because these employees are looking for help with their benefits. Also, it helps with a healthier workforce. You get health insurance for the company. Employees are going to be more adept to use the health insurance, which was proven to have fewer sick days and can help your businesses be more productive. Also for the businesses, there are tax advantages, right? There's write-offs for your portion of contribution that the business's portion of contribution that they put towards health insurance. So if they're looking for a little tax benefit, not only do you get a tax benefit, but you can attract, better employees. I wouldn't say better, but employees that, higher earning employees who can attract more and better employees. So I love the pictures here. But look at them. We're to kind of share with you some of the very, very popular sectors that we really do well in. So if you know folks that own construction and manufacturing, we do very well here. Also in the healthcare and social assistance, we do a lot of healthcare and social assistance. And I'm not trying to discount if you have a business that's not listed here. We do all kinds of businesses. But public administration, professional, scientific, technical services, pretty much you name the kind of business, we do it. But these are some of our biggest sectors that we do very well here. Want to kind of talk a little bit about, so for folks, if you're writing a lot of individual now, maybe looking to write group. So group health, once that company gets that plan, Dennis, you've seen it, you get that first time group and they get a health insurance plan. And now the employees are on it. Well, they're going to probably want to keep that plan, right? And we have a lot of options that Dennis is going to talk through a little later with kind of how our team handles a lot of that. But they're going to want to keep that plan. And as long as you do a really good job as an agent, you're not going to lose that business. So you're going to have a long policy life. It's not just one person saying, well, I just don't want this anymore. Well, if you have a small business, that's impacting employees that work for that group if they get rid of it. So you have a very long policy life when you sell group. Also, one group can yield many members, right? More premium. I know more premium equals more money, right? Sometimes. Also, small business. If you have a friend that starts a business and they want to offer health insurance, a lot of these small businesses grow, right? That's their whole goal. That's their whole goal with a business is to grow and get bigger. And as they get bigger, they're going to need more employees. More employees go on the plan. Also, Dennis, cross-selling, right? Talk about all the cross-selling we do with all of our ancillary products that we'll get into in 2 weeks. We'll talk a little bit more about that. But this is an opportunity. If you can't even sell, if you don't sell the group, you can still have an opportunity to sell some ancillary products to these groups and have a great cross-selling opportunity. Who doesn't love residuals? I love residuals, but they pay out in the form of a premium employee per month, and it also continues to pay year over year. So once you get a group on the books, you're continuously getting paid on that group. So a lot of benefits of selling group. It's probably the stickiest product you can sell or stickiest thing you can sell because once a group gets a health plan, they're not taking it away. They take it away, guys, they're going to have a lot of employee noise. Employee noise means these employees are like, well, my company's not offering me health insurance anymore. I'm going to go to someone that will.
Yeah, if I could chime in, what we're seeing here with all the agents that we work with across the board, we're seeing that a client has been sticky in group. And when we say that, it's around 5 to 7 years is what we're seeing on average. So it's a good sticky product where you do receive, all of these options and bullet points that you see here today.
And that's 5 to 7 years is a long time. It's a long time to continuously getting paid on something. So that's great to hear. So let's talk a little about group health insurance 101, some of the basics, how you can really get into this. So first of all, a group, what is a group? I've talked about a little bit before. We need employers, 2 or more employees that actively work for the business. So if you know someone owns a business with 2 or more employees, we can sell health insurance to them. That's all we need. And I talked a little bit about this before, but yeah, it's a single insurance policy. It's a health insurance policy. It covers their employees or selected employees.
I do want to say, if you could go back, I'm not sure if you have this on future slides. I'm pretty sure you will.
We do. What you talking about?
That first bullet point there, 2 or more employees. What kind of groups of 2 can we not write group insurance to, David?
Husband and wife group.
That is correct. We cannot write group insurance for a company that only consists of a husband and wife. We can write a group of 2 as long as there is a third employee there. So again, husband and wife only groups we cannot write. That is something that happens or comes up often in the group space, so that should be known.
That's a great call out. But yeah, other than that, if it's owner and employee, we're good. So the husband and wife group, no. But start thinking about if you want to get into this space, start thinking about friend, and we cover this on a later slide of where to find groups. But start thinking about those people you know. You probably know people that own businesses. This is a great opportunity to reach out to them. Talk about types of group health insurance, and we're going to get into more of the details on this on next week's training of really what fully insured and self-funding are, more of a definition. We're going to take a deep dive into them. So if you want to learn a little bit more about these 2 topics, we're going to cover those next week. But there's fully insured. Fully insured reminds me a lot more of like the marketplace plans. There's no underwriting. They have metal level plans, employer pay annual premium. It covers all the claims and they're self-funded, where we're going to talk a lot about self-funded and level funded next week. But this is where the employer is going to pay for claims for their employees as they are incurred. I've touched on ancillary products already. Ancillary, we have dental. We have lots of dental products, vision, critical illness, accident, life insurance. We're launching more and more life insurance plans. So these are things that you have clients calling you about. We have lots of options and we can sell them in the group space as well. It's very similar to your individual plans, but just kind of touching on this, I'm not going to take a deep dive into this, but we do offer copay plans. So when you have a business that's looking to get a quote for health insurance, just like an individual space, we have copay plan options, or we can do HSA plans or high deductible health plans. Really the big difference for some of those, and maybe I don't know a lot of differences. Copay, right? You go to see your primary care, they ask you to pay $30 for the visit. It covers everything. That's a copay plan, right? High deductible plans, those are the ones that offer the HSA account. So you get that little handy dandy credit card that you can swipe to pay for your health and your coverage for your care for that day. These are often used as base plans. When we give you a quote back, a lot of times dentists will give you a high deductible health plan option as more of a base, usually less expensive option, and then a copay plan option, and let the employer decide kind of what they want to do. but just very similar to if you're in the individual space, very similar stuff here. We talk about the type of networks, again, very similar to individual, but I will point out here with our Allstate groups, all of those are PPO type of networks when we do group health on Allstate, which is a huge win. So a lot of you probably, PPO, we all knows that kind of, I won't say the word gold standard, but everyone like sees PPO as like the top box, which it is, right? Usually it's more expensive, but in the group space, we're able to offer very aggressive options for a PPO style plan. Get PPO if you're not aware, right? It's that large networks with in and out of network coverage. Usually you don't have to select a primary care. Again, what I mean by large networks is usually Dennis and I can go to Tampa and visit Dan. And if something happens to me, I fall over the curb and break my knee. I don't know if you can break a knee, right? But let's just say I tear something. I'm probably in network for the most part on some of these PPO plans. EPO, little different. My wife and I are on an EPO plan right now. And yeah, I know. I'll take a little heat on that one because Dennis is giving me a weird look. But we took our daughter somewhere like 40 miles from our house and it was out of network. It was a major hospital system. So, but yeah, EPO doesn't offer out of network coverage, usually smaller networks. And then HMOs, a lot of you are probably familiar with HMOs, where really you gotta see the primary care first. They kind of gatekeep your care, no out of network coverage as well. But Allstate, kind of giving you the Allstate thing here, a lot of our plan options that Dennis and Aaron will send back to you are PPO style plans, which is huge in the group space. Point of service, for those of you who know, we don't do, I think it's like we do less than 2% of POS plans. It's very location based for POS plans. But we do very few of them, but they actually offer out of network coverage as well. But these are all available. Options like these are also available in the group space. Group policy available. There's guaranteed available, right? This is a play on words, right? But yes, they are guarantee available, not guarantee issue to eligible employer group and all of its eligible employees. When we talk about self-funding, we're going to talk a lot more about this in next week and the week after. But some of our group plans do have underwriting guidelines. Folks will have to fit. They'll actually get medical underwriting, but even just they will have minimum participation guidelines, which some of those are, if you mean net eligible, and we'll talk about eligible or waivers in a minute. But if you're on like your wife's plan, right, and you waive coverage if your company offers you plan, that would be what we call a valid waiver, right? So if Dennis and I are on a plan together and I work for a different company, my company offers me health insurance, and I decide to go on Dennis's plan because it's better than mine, that'd be a waived coverage for me. That'd be a waiver. So a lot of these require 75% of net eligible. Some require 50%, meaning that after valid waivers, you need at least 50% of the folks to be on the plan, and some 75%. A contribution. This one's really important. So if your employer, it's a very common question we get, right? Employers will be like, I've never had this before. How much do I have to participate? Like, how much of this do I have to pay? Well, the company is responsible for paying at least 50% of the employee-only premium. So what that means, let's use that Dennis and I's example before. Let's say it's Dennis's company. His company would have to pay 50% of his premium. Not mine, but just his premium. So for an employee, that's a huge incentive. If they're employee only, especially huge incentive, but even any help anyone's going to offer compared to having to pay full price is huge and usually get a much better plan. So 50% employers can do more. We see that as well. I have a friend who the employer pays 100% of their whole family premium. I mean, that's a lot, right? But they pay the whole premium for that employee. I mean, all depends what that company wants to do, but they're really only responsible for 50% of the employee-only premium. And who can enroll? And this is where Dennis touched on before. The employer owner can be one of the employees, but we can't do the spouse of the owner and just the owner. That's a husband and wife. We can't do that. The other employee can't be a partner of the owner or employer as well. Also can't be a seasonal employee, even if they work full-time during that period, meaning that if it's Dennis's company again, he hires me for the summer and then I don't work for him 6 months of the year, that would be non-eligible employee. Also, this is where I say usual, because Allstate does have some options for contractors. When you really get into the weeds here, when you guys bring in groups, we could talk more through that. But Allstate is one of the very few carriers that does offer some options for contractors, but most carriers don't. And what I mean by a contractor is like 1099 employee. So Dennis owns a company. I'll say I do a bunch of work for him. I'm a 1099 employee, meaning I'm a contractor. He can't be on the health plan for most carriers. So
one thing that I'll add to this slide, everybody, just to hammer it home, is that we are only looking at full-time employees when we're looking at group medical. Part-time employees not eligible. Okay, so full-time only when we do the math when it comes down to participation and things like that, which is one of the things that I will look into on every opportunity that you present. We'll dive into it. Again, the whole message and the whole reason we're having this training is to just show you that group insurance doesn't have to be hard. A lot of the talking points are what you're doing for your individual clients, your Medicare clients. It's just the content, the wording might be slightly different. The sales technique that you are already doing is not changing. And then at the end of this, hopefully that you will see that really my goal as the director here of the group division is to ensure that you feel like you have your hand held, and we'll hold your hand as long as you want it held from start to finish. And you'll see that the resources that we have here to do that. So I'm sorry, I went into my little box there.
But you put a plug in before I put your, but I want to reinforce that though. A lot of these little questions here, guys, that are in the weeds here, we will help you with as your support team for HST and at AHCP, excuse me, with Dennis and his team. We have a lot of resources to really make this super easy. If you come across a group you want to write, you're a friend that owns a group, owns a company that's like, hey, I'd love to. I heard you're in insurance, health insurance. Can you help me? Yes, you can help him. Talk to us, and we will walk you through and help you through this. It's not hard to do. I think there's a lot of overthinking that sometimes goes on. We make it really easy for you. So yeah, some of the stuff in the weeds here we can help answer for you when you actually get a group in your hands. Minimum participation, the net eligible. We'll talk about minimum participation, and Dennis talked about that. We're looking at number of full-time hours worked by employees, full-time plus part-time in a business. I'm not gonna. We can talk a little bit about the full-time equivalent. I don't want to dive too far in the weeds here with this. Really, how we calculate full-time employees is the number of hours worked by the employee divided by the number of hours the business considers full-time. I think, was it 30? What was the standard average you usually see, Dennis? Because I know it's kind of different, even state by state. It's usually 30.
30.
So usually 30 hours a week is technically full-time. So how does that work if you're looking at employee? We'll just do the calculation of a 40-hour work week, right? Employee works 40 hours, divided by the company designates full-time as 40 hours. That person works 40 hours. That's one full-time employee. If you take a look at someone works 20 plus another one works 20, that would be both of those employees would equivalent to one full-time employee. One more. I love it kind of looks like my hairstyle. Yeah, getting a little more in the weeds.
It's not
here.
mine.
You got one person
It's
works.
not my hair.
Yeah,
I'll tell you that much.
But you have one that works 10. Well, I mean, it's simple math here, right? 30 hours plus 25 plus 50. These are 4 employees that work 4 different work weeks. You add those up, that's 80 hours, right? Company, it's 40 hours is designated full-time. We have 2 people here. So all these folks would equivalent or equate to 2 full-time employees. And if you have questions on this stuff, folks, feel free to reach out to our team and we can help answer if you have more full-time equivalent questions, or you get a business with a bunch of different hours work stuff, we can work through that with you. That's no big deal. Let's talk about participation waivers, and I touched on that before. These are very important. So only employees with a valid waiver are exempt from minimum participation. So valid waivers, I mentioned one before, right? Company offers me health insurance for husband and spouse. Husband's on the plan. Wife doesn't want to go on the plan because her company offers her health insurance. So she says, I'm going with my company's health insurance. That would be a waiver. Okay. That would be an example of a waiver. Waivers considerations are specific to carrier. Some carriers treat it a little bit differently. And the valid waiver section lists all accepted waivers. All cost-based and religious-based waivers are not valid waivers. So if you're saying, hey, I can't get health insurance because of my religion, that would be a not valid waiver. Or you're saying, hey, it's too expensive. Dennis, I don't want to pay all this much for health insurance even though I'm a full-time employee. That is also not a valid waiver. If all full-time employees not enrolling in the plan must complete and sign the waiver forms. So that's kind of the most common stuff. People might say it's too expensive. That would not be a valid waiver. So, with some things here, I kind of talked through some of these. These are the most valid waivers, common valid waivers we see. Someone might be on Medicare, right? 65 plus, but working for the company. They might say, I want to do Medicare. That would be a valid waiver. Someone on Medicaid, go other side of the coin there, Medicaid. Someone's on a individual health plan. This is the one I brought up now several times, but they're on the spouse's employer group health plan. Or you got a lot of those folks, the rules change the ACA. They let kids up to, I shouldn't say kids, adults up to 20, once they turn 26, they got to go on their own plan. Got a lot of fresh out of college, out of high school folks that are getting full-time employment. They want to go on mom and dad's plan and junior wants to stay on it. That would be a valid waiver. Also, COBRA would be a valid waiver as well. VA, TRICARE, military health insurance, that would be, and any other federal health plan would also be a valid waiver. A lot of the ones we see here are the spouse's plan, very common. Also, folks who are on a parent's health plan for those younger, the folks who are just getting into the workforce, I should say. Those are also very common ones we see. And Medicare, folks are deciding to work past 65 and joining the Medicare world. That's also a very common waiver we see. State, I don't see that one as much, but it's on there. Carve-outs. We'll talk just briefly about carve-outs. I know Allstate has some very good carve-out options, but companies can say, you know what? I have Dennis. He's a delivery driver. I don't want Dennis. I don't want to offer health insurance to my delivery drivers. I just want to offer it to my management staff. So that's an option that some providers will accommodate. I know Allstate has very, very good options for carve-outs. Some carriers don't, but what that really means is they can do a carve-out class. I know they even do for hours worked, I believe, is one of the other ones for carve-outs you can do. But I know management class, so if I own a company, I got 5 managers and 5 delivery drivers, Dennis being one of my delivery drivers, I can say, you know what? Just want to offer health insurance to my management staff because they have much higher earners, a lot more likely to want to take the plan. But I just want to offer to my management. I want to be able to retain them, offer them good health insurance. That's all we're going to do. That would be an example of a carve out. Very good hourly. I brought this one up. You can have salary employees, hourly employees, typically. That's a very common one to see. So I just want to offer health insurance to my salary employees. And the example I gave you is management versus non-management. You could have office versus field. Very specific to Allstate for the most part. Not common in the small group space as well. But Allstate does have options out there because you will get these questions. You'll have these businesses that come to you and be like, I have 10 employees, 5 of them would never take the plan. Can we just do it to the management staff? Yeah, we can accommodate that. So that's an example of carve out. Enrollment, I kind of want to talk about some key terms. You guys are probably very familiar with some of these already. Some of them are still pretty common. They're very common health insurance, but a plan year is a little different than what we consider a calendar year. Calendar year is like it says, it's calendar year. This is why Dennis is going to be so busy in the fourth quarter, and you might actually have people, more and more people asking you questions about group in the fourth quarter because we do a lot of calendar year plans, a lot of 1-1 groups, meaning that their year starts on 1-1. We're on a 1-1 plan, and because I know my deductible and all that resets on January 1st, so I know I'm on a calendar year plan. But 1-1 and then on New Year's Eve would be their plan year. It's considered a calendar year. Then you have plans where a group says, you know what, we want to start coverage of a new carrier now. We were on a calendar year plan, but this deal that you brought to me so good. Let's do a 9-1 or 10-1 plan. 9-1 already came and went, right? I would do a 10-1 plan, which means that your year starts on 10-1 and would reset, but end the last day of September of the next year. Or the example actually I should have just given you, which is on the slide, is you have a 4-1 plan, which is April 1st. The plan resets on March 31st. So that would be plan year. So we can do both. So you don't have to wait till open enrollment, that time frame to start trying to find groups. You can look for them during all parts of the year, because we can write plan year groups, and it's we got a lot of plan year groups on the books too. But probably I would still say a heavy majority of our groups are still on calendar year. That's why Dennis can't use PTO until after the new year, just because it was very big, very, very busy time for us. Talk about initial enrollment. This is the period of time when a group enrolls for the first time in the plan. That would be what we could call initial enrollment. Then you have, this is where all eligible employees must elect or enroll or waive coverage on the plan. This really can begin at any time during the calendar year. But once the group has signed the official quote, that would close initial enrollment. That's why you want to make sure you get every single employee, hunt them all down, because the last thing you want to do is have a late enrollment. Have some, hey, I want to join the health plan. Well, that time has come and gone now. So you want to make sure they communicate and get everybody on that plan before we sign that final quote. I know it's one of the big pain points too of selling a group too is last minute you'll have 5 people that we didn't know existed say, I want to join. So just make sure you have good communication with that group about everybody that's looking to enroll. That you guys are all probably very familiar with open enrollment, which actually I can't believe it's coming up really soon. I think it's November 1st, I believe open enrollment starts. It just feels like it's not almost Halloween. But yes, open enrollment's that period when all employees can enroll. So that's why if you've worked for a company before, they probably send you an email, and starting November 1st, you have a certain time frame to select your health insurance for the year. That's what we consider open enrollment. And that happens every year.
So keep in mind that open enrollment is the 60-day period before the effective date of that group. So it can happen anytime, like David said, anytime throughout the year.
So those calendar year plans, that's why a lot of times I don't know who's all been in the workforce and worked for a company before. Usually November 1st, you get that email. They say, hey, you got to enroll. Some of them don't even give you the 60 days. They give you like 3-week window. So they have to get it to their company and get you on the books. But this is where carriers must accept all the applicants. It's usually every company I've worked for, it's always just once a year. But there's special enrollments as well. These are periods outside initial enrollments. This would be like you have someone's going to have a baby, right? And they need to add their child or change their health care because they're having a baby. That would be what we consider a qualifying life event, right? Or if you lose coverage from a spouse. Most common one for special enrollments are new hires. You add a new hire to the plan. That new hire is probably not going to get like a November 1st hire date right during open enrollment, right? They're probably going to get hired throughout the year. So you ever started a company and you were offered health insurance for the company, That would be a qualifying life event and a special enrollment. Yeah, Jim, you see Jim's comment? Oh my God, for Home Depot too. Oh, phew. That had to be very interesting. You probably had a lot of questions, I'm sure it flooded your inbox. And that's why, because you're with Home Depot, you're probably on a 1-1 plan, calendar year plan, and they had a window of time in November to get everybody enrolled so they can get things all set and get things going. And they are, I would assume Home Depot is self-insured, yeah. And we're gonna talk, Jim. I would love to have you join us next week because we're gonna dive in the weeds with self-funding and fully insured. You can learn a lot more about probably why Home Depot was self-funded. You probably already know that, but yeah, I would never expect Home Depot to be fully insured. Those tools are too cheap for them to have a fully insured plan. And depending on care, employee may need to wait because sometimes you'll see where there's a 60-day waiting period. Sometimes there's a 0, like they're eligible for insurance in their first day. But some carriers, you may need to be there 30 days before you can get health insurance, 60 days. That's an election that's carrier specific to receive benefits. I already touched on this, but I'm sure there's still some questions about qualifying life events. So want to give a few more options on, or a few more comments on qualifying life events, because it is a very common thing that comes up with us. If someone loses their eligibility for Medicare, this doesn't happen as often, but Medicaid, right? Someone gets a promotion, they were on Medicaid before, now they're making more money. That'd be a qualifying life event. Turning 26, I just talked about this before. Could be on your parents' plan. Once you turn 26, you get booted off. You can't be on that anymore. That'd be a qualifying life event. So if that employee had turned 26, they would have to go on the group plan. Losing insurance through a spouse's job. Yeah, so that company's no longer offering you health insurance, and everyone was on that plan now, and you're offered a plan. We did this actually a couple of years ago. I switched companies, and we need to go on my wife's plan. So that was a qualifying life event. I was able to get right on her plan. We were on it for 3 months before I started a different position with Allstate. Well, coming up on 5 years now, but wow, time flies. But yeah, 5 years ago, I lost coverage from my former employer. Everyone was on my plan. So day I left that company, we went on my wife's plan for like 3 months until the new open enrollment. So that's stuff that can happen. It does happen, comes up often. Some of these getting married. Yep, getting married. Now the spouse is and that's not the reason why people get married, but they can go on the health insurance plan. Now it's great. And the opposite of that is getting divorced, right? If you're on the spouse's plan and you guys are no longer together now, you got to go out and get yourself some health insurance. Giving birth, got to get that baby on the plan, right? Or adopting a child, got to get that baby on the plan, got to get that child on the plan. Those are qualifying life events. Changes in residency because networks and things work differently in different locations. If you're moving to a different zip code, county or state, you could be that is designated as a qualifying life event. Somebody who's come up less often, becoming a citizen, obviously that would be a qualifying life event as well. Any questions in the Q&A, Dennis? I haven't seen too much. I haven't seen a lot of questions in the chats. We must be making a lot of sense to everybody and offering good information here. Very similar, like Dennis mentioned before, group is a lot like selling your individual policies that you guys sell now. It's very similar sales process. But if you're looking at selling group, really your biggest goals are trying to find those pain points that employers looking for group for. They haven't had it before. They're looking for it for a reason. Okay, there's a reason why they were looking for a plan. If they have a plan now, there's a reason why they're shopping, right? So look, your job really is to offer a solution that meets those goals and to be better and more efficient. So as you know, very similar sales process as individual. You're going to want to, just like you do when you sell individual, you want to ask a lot of open-ended questions. That way you get the information you're looking for. Our sales process, again, very similar to selling. I mean, these sales process, Dennis, I've worked in different industries. They don't change much. I mean, it's always right, greet, explore, make a recommendation, and sell. Very similar here. They're all just kind of similar in the group space. I mean, you're always going to be looking at prospecting for groups, right? You're going to be looking at where can I find a group. However you do that, there are some things we'll share in a minute. There are a couple things you don't want to do, but while you're prospecting, you're going to want to get introduction to that group, the group decision maker. Find out, do a little qualifying, right? Do they have group health insurance now? Can you get in the door? Make that appointment. Once you get that appointment and gather the information you need to make a proposal. Once you make a proposal, right, you're going to try to close them. And if you did a really good job, these business owners know many, many other people. You might get a good referral. And that's where group can really snowball for you as an agent, is when you do a really good job from somebody. These business owners know their little buddies in the industry. I mean, I know a friend that sold to a car dealership. His first group was a car dealership. And I didn't know all these. I always thought these car dealerships all hated each other because, they're Chevy dealerships and like every 5 of them per county. This guy ended up selling like every Chevy dealership within like 5 counties because these guys all talked about how good of a job he did for that business. Again, that was surprising to me. I always thought like A dealership and B dealership, like, don't like each other because they're selling the same thing. They're competition, but a lot of these guys are buddies and they will refer you. So that's a huge name in the game, also in the group space. Very important to do that. You're also trying to look at where do I go out and find a group? Talk to businesses that you use frequent. There's like a little independent coffee shop you go to that has a bunch of employees, or just any kind of business. Start with that. Business that you go to, that you shop at. These are great places. The owner of some place. Hey, have you ever thought about getting health insurance for employees? Right? Yeah. Worst thing I'm going to say is no. Right? We get a lot of no's in our industry. No's lead to yeses, though. Referrals. Anybody in your social circle. I mean, think about the people you play sports with. I mean, if you have a little tennis group, anybody in your tennis group own a business? Well, there you go. Or know someone owns a business. Hey, you got anybody that what might own a business that's looking for health insurance? I sell health insurance. I can help them out. I can look for the best deal from them. I got a support team that can support me getting the best possible solution for their business. Online, be careful of TCPA regulations about like cold calling. There's a lot of I don't know if Dennis, you want to speak a little bit more to that? Or I think a lot of folks probably already know a lot about that. I'm just planning to say 2-person. Rob, I think we're going to get into commissions on October 3rd, but if you have specific questions, you can email Dennis that. Dennis is going to leave his email in the chat box before. Actually, we're going to give you his contact information before we end out here. So direct that question to him. But I will say commission is very good. Is very good. Places you can find small business like strip malls. You go to strip malls and I always like to really start with those like independently owned businesses. Like you're not going to probably go to like, oh, I'm going to blast from the past here. Dennis, you're going to laugh at my example. You guys remember like Sam Goodies that used to be in strip malls? Like that would probably be a company that would be probably hard to get into because they're such a large corporation. But it doesn't hurt not trying, right? But those small little chains, small business in there, great places. I know a friend that sold to a flower shop. This guy would buy his wife flowers all the time, and they had a lot of employees. The place grew, and he sold them health insurance. They had a bunch of full-time employees working for the flower shop. BNI, yeah, you guys are probably all part of networking groups. These are great. I would even add to here the Chamber of Commerce. If you go to chamber events, those are great places to meet folks that work for businesses that you could have some opportunities with. Really, all the world's your oyster of trying to find a group. I even have a person that went on LinkedIn, does a little series about group health insurance, and he got some action from even just doing that on LinkedIn. People reach out to him. in his contacts. Be like, oh, I didn't know you sold group health insurance. I need some for my business. Um, be creative. And a lot of the stuff you guys do for individual health, it works in the group space as well. Next doors. I mean, my next door is a lot of people trying to call out coyote sightings, but some of you who live in next door where there's actually some very useful business stuff in there. Yeah, does not hurt. I know next door's got some great air. Dennis is laughing because this is the same way. Uh, but next door, people will be like, anyone know someone does, just put a little plug in for yourself. John Smith, I sell group health. And if you own a business and you're looking to get some good quote, I work with all these different carriers, you might get some action. Depending on where you live, could be very good opportunity. My zip code is all coyote sightings and people who see deer that are afraid of them. I mean, good old Wisconsin, but hopefully yours is better for that. Some carriers we work with before we kind of close things out. We have lots of different carriers. Allstate, we're going to talk about Allstate. We're going to have a guest from Allstate actually on an October 3rd session that's going to talk about a lot of the Allstate products. We sell Aetna level funded. We have Blue Cross, Blue Shield, fully insured level funded, United fully insured level funded. Some of our ancillaries here, we have Beam. If you're in that space, Beam is a main player there. Humana ancillary dental and vision. And MetLife ancillary, we got dental, a lot of stuff with MetLife. It's another great carrier. And Principal for ancillary dental, short-term medical, limited LTD, vision, accident, critical illness, life, all kinds of stuff. So we have a lot of carriers. And what this really means, folks, why is this important? There's just talk about the health plan, not even just taking ancillary out for a second. It's not like we're just working with one carrier. So if you get a group in your hands, it's not like you're just getting one quote, right? And Dennis, I'm not going to steal your thunder because you're on the next slide, but just showing you, we work with some of the biggest names in the health insurance space that we can get you a competitive quote and get what's right for that group that you're looking for. So Dennis, I'm going to turn it over to you. If you want to just give everyone just a little bit of the lay of the land, like, here's the question. I come across a group, right?
Yeah.
My friend is a neighbor. He owns a lawn cutting service and he's expanding. He's got full-time people. He saw me with my little name tag on, my health insurance. He saw my card and he's interested in getting, wanting to get a quote. And I'm an agent. I've never written group before. What is your team? How can your team help?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for that. First of all, thank you all for taking time out of your day to stop selling, and to potentially invest into group to selling and making money that way as well. So it's simple. Everything starts with collecting a census. Now, I did put that in the group chat. Hopefully you saw that. There is a group census that you can download. If not, I'd be happy to email that out. If you would email me, any conversations that you've had, any opportunities that you have, if you bring them to me, we'll just talk about them on the phone, whether that's through email or it could be a Zoom call. We're going to just dive into getting to know the client, diving into their current coverage, what their goals are, what their challenges have been to any potential insurance. Long story short, everything starts with collecting a group census. And it's very simple. It collects some information on the business itself, the name, where they're located, what they do, meaning their industry. And then we're going to go ahead and collect the employee demographic information. And that's going to be the employee, the spouse, and the child, if the spouse and children are going to be covered. All right. And minimally there, all I need is gender and age. Date of birth would be great. We get a little bit more specific in the rates that way. We don't even need names, but if you want to present this to a group, you should have names that you look better as an agent. Mm-hmm. From there, once you have that census and you send it to me, everyone, I'm going to go ahead and farm that out to the carriers. I will collect all carrier quotes that are applicable for the size of the group, in the state that they're actually reside in, their site is state. Okay. From there, you and I are going to jump on a phone call to go through all of those options.
That was my
Before,
question. My question was like, what happens when you get all these options with these
yeah,
carriers? Are you
we're
going to
not
help
hanging
make
you out there to dry.
recommendation?
We're not hanging you out there to dry.
Okay.
My goal is to get you savvy enough through the number of opportunities that you bring so that you do feel comfortable to take it on yourself. But until that point, I'm holding your hand. We're getting on the phone. We're walking through all the options, picking a couple out, maybe for a presentation. And then I would like to offer myself out there to you to also be on the phone or Zoom to present to the client. You will always remain the agent. I'm just there to support you and help you close on your first couple. In addition to my role here, we also have somebody that is not with us today. Her name is Leslie Schmidt. Leslie's main role is our retention specialist. So once I've helped you, you have the business on the books, you're servicing them throughout the year. Maybe you'll get odds and ends questions. Leslie is your gal. But when it comes time for renewal, to save you the time and effort of having to shop that client to see if that renewal offer is valid, Leslie is going to do that for you and present another set of options for you and go into that renewal and make sure here's why the increase happened. She might even ask questions. Are these employees even there? Just to validate the offer and to also show, hey, there are better options out there, or hey, this offer still stands as the best offer in the area. So we're really helping you out from start to finish and there beyond. And I hope that you see that we want to help that way.
Also, we have a couple other resources here. Again, Aaron's going to be on in 2 weeks. He's our Allstate rep. We sell a lot of Allstate. He's going to go in depth with kind of the Allstate process. Jim Gable, our Allstate ancillary specialist as well. If you guys want, there's our contact information. Make sure to jot that down. And yeah, Dennis is gonna be your first point of contact. Dennis also works with a couple other, a lot of other carriers. Jason Mitchell's our Aetna Blue Cross resource, and then Josh Graham. Josh doesn't look like that in person. Neither is Jason, but that's their most recent headshot. But these folks are great resources for us. Josh in the MetLife ancillary space and Jason at the Blue Cross. I mean, we have a lot of moving parts to our group support team. So when you call Dennis, I mean, once that button is triggered, there's a lot of options, and we can get that group a very good option for getting health insurance for their employees. So you're not just stuck with one carrier. Like Dennis said, he's gonna find kind of the best one that fits that group, and we can make a recommendation. And so we provide you a lot of tools to help you sell groups. So you're not alone. You find a group, you don't need to be scared. Call Dennis and talk about the group, and we can help hold your hand through it. So that's what we do here. So we have a lot of support. We're here for you. I don't have any other questions here, but I do want to again promote. There's going to be communication. Paul's going to send out some communications. We're going to have a training like this next week. And we're going to talk about level funded and fully insured. So if you're an agent right now, and I mean, you're not very familiar with like how group works still, and you want to know a little bit more about self-funding and how to explain it to you, that's what we're focused on next week. And then the 3rd of October, we're going to be hosting a session, a very Allstate specific session on Allstate products and offerings. So would love to have you all join. Again, if you have any other questions, feel free to email. I'm gonna put Dennis's before we close this out. I'm gonna put Dennis's in our contact information in here. Jot down his phone number, his email address. Feel free to shoot him an email. He probably will be joining us next week as well. But if you don't have any other further questions, yes, Aaron, good question. Will you send us an email for yes, Paul with AHCP team is going to be sending an email about registration for the next session. So reach, you should be seeing that in your email box. I'm sure you'll start to be promoting it. So thank you again, Aaron. Appreciate that. But yeah, if you don't have any other further questions, that's where we're at right now. And thank you for having us today. And hope to hear from you and sell some groups. Fourth quarter is upon us.
Thank you all.
Thanks, guys.